What's going on, the BBs? I'm Siraj Hashmi.
I'm Jay Kobbe.
And we're the Habibi Bros. Welcome to another episode of Habibi Bros podcast. It is Tuesday, April 2nd, in the year of Allah. I'm sorry, year of our Lord. Sorry, 2024.
Right after Easter, son. Right after Easter.
I'm sorry.
You might as well have just called it Trans Visibility Day.
I didn't do it. I didn't do it, Jay.
No,
I didn't do it.
No, you didn't.
No, I didn't.
Hey, if the president can say he didn't do it.
If it works for him, why can't it work for me?
Exactly right.
See?
All right. So in all honesty,
let's move on.
Let's go.
That never happened. Exactly. How you doing, Jack?
Wonderful. How you been?
You know, it's a little crazy. As you are well aware.
Yes, absolutely.
You know, it really does take a village.
Oh, dude. It absolutely certainly does.
And if you have no idea what we're talking about, that is having to poop.
And dad life, basically.
That too. Actually, It's really funny. Right before the show started, you know, I'm putting baby to bed, or trying to.
I thought you were going to say you're putting out. I'm like, I hope so. After waiting this long, you better.
Whoa, Jay! It doesn't take me that long. Okay. They call me 1 minute man for a reason, all right? And by they, I mean my wife.
Hey, it only took 1 minute, and you got a beautiful, and you have a beautiful baby.
As a result.
Exactly. Subhanallah.
Yes, that's right. So, welcome to the show, everyone. I did say that I was saying something about how the fact that, you know, it doesn't matter. Let's keep it moving. No, it does take a village, raising a child. And it seems like something that some people do really well. And there are a lot of people who don't do it very well. But as long as you use them for political gain and say how much you love them to the public, then it doesn't really matter. Right, Jay?
Absolutely. Here, pretty soon, we're going to start using your baby for merch and to promote the show, like the whole thing.
Inshallah. Inshallah. So we have a jam-packed show for you tonight. You know, we got things like Easter Sunday, the Biden administration, well, not even the Biden administration, the Biden White House, basically prioritizing LGBTQ community because they care more about that, or it's the new religion. We got RFK. We got news out of Israel. And we also have, I never thought I'd say this, Jay, women's basketball. So stay tuned for that. Hit that like and subscribe button. Make sure you go check out our locals. We have a stream that's currently running on our locals at the same time as this Rumble stream. So we're gonna do a little after show there. Yeah. So come hang with us.
Yes. But one thing, while everything was happening while you were taking care of your child, an earthquake hit Taiwan, 7.5. There are a few reports that buildings have been collapsing, and then there was also an aftershock of a 6.5 as well. I know it's kind of heavy, like getting into it, but it's just gonna say, Jay, it's breaking news right now. It's just happening. So if you guys are the thoughtful or praying type, just make sure you can pray and send your thoughts over to the people of Taiwan going through this. I mean, it's like 8:30, 9 a.m. over there right now. So it's a pretty devastating thing to happen first thing in the morning, waking up.
Almost as bad as that one day in August in Japan.
Oh, I thought you were gonna be like, it reminds you of that one day in 9/11.
Or that.
No, but yeah, sorry. I just wanted to put that out there.
Why are you like completely ruining the vibe? Okay. You know,
you say that after you made a joke right afterwards. There's no vibe we're ruining here.
Oh God, yeah, we were the vibes.
Iron,
The vibes are immaculate.
Iron John 123. Where are you guys? Because it's Wednesday, 3rd April in Europe.
We're based in Florida in the United States of America.
Yeah, where freedom reigns.
America. Okay.
Where freedom reigns and the
Supreme.
trans religion is taking over.
Yes.
So,
but you know, it's okay that the trans cult is taking over because apparently it doesn't matter to the corporate media. So why should it matter to the rest of America, right?
No, absolutely. It doesn't matter to them. And they're holding weight for the administration as well. Now, look.
Wait, holding weight?
Water. Sorry. That's the saying, right? It's holding water.
Carrying water.
Is it carrying water?
Pretty sure it's carrying water.
Not holding water?
I mean, it could be carrying weight. I don't know, Jay.
Whatever it is, the media is acting like the press department of the White House when it comes to what happened on Sunday, because even though this has been a date set, March 31st for Trans Visibility Day, like 4 or 5 years ago, the fact that the way that the Biden proclaimed it in a statement for Trans Visibility Day compared to his statement about Easter, and then the consequential admin officials all posting about Trans Visibility Day and not really posting about Easter. And this also comes after the fact that they were banning any Christian symbolism when it came to painting the eggs for the Easter egg hunt.
Also, I was reliably informed that there was no footage of Monday's Easter egg roll at the White House, which is something that's been broadcasted like live for, I don't know, at least
since his resurrection,
since Jesus,
since
Jesus rose from the dead. I mean, that's they've had the Easter egg roll at the White House for that long.
And I mean, the guy made a more heartfelt statement for the start of Ramadan than he did for Easter, and he's supposed to be a Catholic.
I recall some bishop in Washington calling Biden a cafeteria Catholic.
Yeah,
cafeteria Catholic, and that just like never got any attention. It is really wild. I was listening to Steez's podcast, Versus Media podcast. You find that on Substack. Trust me, I've been trying to get that dude to do a video podcast for a while now. I've pretty much just given up. But he brings up this interesting point about how, you know, there is this culture war that exists, but it's only when Republicans or conservatives notice something.
Yeah.
That the corporate media and leftists call it a culture war, because it's only when you push back against something like this transgender day of visibility, as opposed to them just doing it in the first place. It's not a culture war when they establish something like this, and basically just put gender queer in our school system, and basically anytime someone brings it up or pushes back, being like, what am I, why is my child reading this pornography?
Why are you
without my knowledge or my consent? And all of a sudden, boom, why are you a terrorist? And then boom, Department of Justice, get on, sick them boys.
And they did that, and they want to pretend that wasn't happening, that they didn't issue those statements, that those parents who are disturbing these parent-teacher conferences should be considered terrorists.
I mean, it's stolen valor for one, Jay. Okay,
absolutely is. But to your point, you're absolutely right. There was no discussions on putting this stuff in schools. There was no discussions on gender affirmation care being the golden standard onto any child ages 7 to 14, saying that they're not in the right body to go through medical and chemical castrations. And then when you're like, hold up, actually, why are we giving children medically castrating drugs that we give rape convicts?
Yeah.
Like,
people convicted of actual rape.
why are we doing this to 12-year-olds? And then they're like, why are you a bigot?
Yeah, why are you
Why
focusing
are
on this?
you wanting to give hate? Why are you the one who want to kill all trans people? And it's like, look, given enough time, that 40% goes up of trans people killing themselves. So they don't need us to talk back to them.
It's actually interesting because they pretty much take care of that problem themselves, right?
Absolutely. And you know, it's a bigger issue because you're affirming a delusion to
Right.
these people. And if the delusion it doesn't go one-to-one with reality, then they're crushed. So in reality, like in honest truthfulness, if you're like really like considering the fact of the matter, is that anyone who pushes this idea that gender affirmation care is actual care is the person holding the knife. They should just go slit the wrist of them, tie the noose for the kid, because that's what they're doing.
So, yeah, I mean, they're accelerating their own demise for sure. And they don't care who they hurt because it advances their own agenda. They can use that as a way to, it's almost like a circle jerk for liberals. Like they basically can tell other liberals, oh, well, I got a trans child in my class. Like, do you have any trans children in your class?
Well, and you also see these
you
parents
don't, you're
push
bigot.
Yeah, and you see these parents like celebrating that they have a trans child, and
right?
everything. And we have,
but like at the same time, like, do you like those people are just as deluded? In fact, like we've talked about how that's basically child abuse.
Yeah,
but we don't ever talk about the parents of children who are pushed into this by their schools, and they don't want that. Like they obviously they love their children. They only want the best for them. I feel like there would be more parents speaking out about how these kids' lives has been ruined.
Well, it is happening. We're seeing a lot of it happen. But I want to get to this one comment real quick from Be Happy 731. Why would a 7-year-old know about transgenderism? Because it is in schools in places like California and in Seattle that they actually hide discussions about gender identity between a teacher and a student from their parents. And they're pushing these things like gender unicorn, gender spectrum, all of these things at the ages of 7 and 8 and 12, like before they're learning their fucking timetables.
Whoa, language, Jay. This is a family show.
Before they're learning their fudging timetables. They are putting through this. They go through like 13 different gender spectrums.
It is delusional for sure.
Oh, and these children can be molded into thinking and doing anything you want them to. I mean, this is akin to Hitler's Nazi youth.
Right, they're Hitler youth.
It is the same kind of brainwashing techniques that they're doing. And then they say you can keep this a secret from your parents. Only you and I can talk about this. Your parents aren't your friend. I am your friend.
Right. I'm your confidant.
And then they start cutting those ties for the end goal to cut the dicks off of the little kids.
Yeah. So just getting back to this transgender day of visibility post from POTUS, which, by the way, you know, we can't expect an 80-year-old, 81, 82-year-old to write their own tweets. But just read it. Just bear with me as we read this. Today on Transgender Day of Visibility, I have a simple message to all trans Americans. I see you. You are made in the image of God, and you're worthy of respect and dignity. See, like that statement, that last one, you are made in the image of God, in and of itself is contradictory, because if they were made in the image of God, they would have been assigned the correct gender when they were born.
Right.
And since God is perfect, although you're an atheist, Jay, so you don't really have a leg to stand on here. I
got 2.
I thought you were going to go with 3, but I mean, I guess you're a 1-inch wonder. So
absolutely. You know this.
In any event, if this whole concept of you being a sort of this was all planned for you. No, it isn't. It's actually the exact opposite of what was planned for you. If you're supposed to be a woman, but you're born a man,
right?
Like that's not. So just this on its face makes me want to hang myself and identify as non-binary. Of course, I'd have to do it the opposite way because I'm trying to help statistics here.
Right. It's a very contradictory statement, like you're saying, and it's a way for them to destroy the tenets of their own of Christianity and religion in itself.
Right.
Is to say that no, religion, like God didn't make you perfect, but I am going to make you perfect. You need to throw chemicals and surgeries and all that kind of stuff in order to make you your true self. And they don't tell you that it's $70,000 a pop for each of these pills every year.
Unless you join the military, in which case it's taxpayer funded,
right,
by us.
Yeah.
Which cheat code.
Yeah.
Surprised liberals aren't pushing people to join the military.
Well, I mean,
which is interesting because they're very at this point, they would be like, why would you want to fight for some fascists? And it's like, I'm pretty sure most of the military is commie now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, especially the Air Force. If not half of the Air Force is already trans, they sure act like bitches.
Facts only.
Mm-hmm. Clip that.
I mean, it's unfortunate because my grandfather who passed away last year was a Air Force veteran, and it's not like he paid attention to the culture war.
How old was your? Wait, you say your grandfather, right?
Yeah.
How old was your grandfather when he was in the Air Force?
Oh, he's like 18.
Yeah, and how long ago was that?
Well,
when men were men and women were women. Who didn't speak and were in the fucking kitchen.
I was just gonna say, boy, the way Glenn Miller played songs that made the hit parade. Guys like us, we had it made. Those were the days.
I love it when you do your Jew voice.
That was all in the Family, Jay. That was not even Jew.
That's
Come on.
That's also your Jew voice. Like,
all right, anyways, moving on. He was in the Air Force back during the 1950s during the Korean War. He was born in 1931.
Oh shit! So maybe Flapper Fuzzy knows him.
Maybe he didn't serve in Vietnam though. So
yeah, maybe it was
Fuzzy. Fuzzy is our resident Vietnam vet of the community.
Yes, of the Habibis.
Yeah. He will dispute this by saying that we are supposed to go play with his beanbag, but don't be fooled because that is the term that they use in Vietnam as they were fondling each other. So
right, and that's exactly what Fuzzy did.
So that's how we know that gives it away.
It's so funny because he comes on, he'll come on, and you'll hear his voice, and he'll be like, "I'm not a Vietnam vet," and he sounds like somebody who's smoking a cigar in his leather Vietnam jacket with his
the dude sounds like he smokes at least 10 packs a day. Probably to get over all the PTSD that he dealt with in Nam.
That's exactly what.
Honestly, that's the only logical.
Honestly, it's probably the PSD that makes him forget.
The PTSD
that makes him forget. But
okay, we're getting off.
Wait. Yeah,
what?
I was going right into it.
Okay, fine.
You didn't let me. So all right, back. So it could be his PTSD that helps him forget, but Biden doesn't have that issue or excuse when he said that he didn't write that tweet.
Oh, that's right.
It
was not even the tweet. It's the proclamation. Where is it? It's got to be here.
Right here.
Oh, here we go. I got it. All right. So, Philip Melanchthon Wegman, who is a White House reporter over at Real Clear Politics. By the way, Philip and I used to work together at Washington. and date at the Washington
Didn't you
exam.
guys go into the office wearing the same thing one time?
There is a photo that
There
exists on the internet. Me and him standing side by side, wearing the exact same outfit and not coordinating or planning that at all. And it is the same color gingham shirt and plain khakis.
And it's really funny because that is the uniform of DC fucktard journalists. Like, it's fucking insane.
Hey, language.
Okay, DC piece of poo-poo journalist.
You gotta work on your vocabulary, Jay. You know
what? Poo-poo is not a
no, it's not. What is it? It's like what Bubba always says, like the it's like intellectually weak when people swear. You never heard that?
Yeah, I have.
Because they have no other words.
It's from people who can't argue with strong alphas like me.
Okay. Anyways, Wegman tweets out, I didn't do that, Biden said when asked about proclaiming Easter Sunday Trans Day of Visibility. Asked about Speaker Johnson's claim otherwise, the president replied he's thoroughly uninformed. Which part is he uninformed about? And also, he didn't do that. There's literally on the White House website, it says, quote, now therefore I, Joseph R. Biden Jr., President of the United States of America, by virtue of the authority vested in me by the Constitution and the laws of the United States, do hereby proclaim March 31st, 2024 as Transgender Day of Visibility. I call upon all Americans to join us in lifting up the lives and voices of transgender people, yada, yada, yada. You get the idea. This is something that the president himself, in the first person, did he not write this? He didn't do it. Who's actually doing this?
Right, but it gets even better than this because Steezy had a spat with a Politico
journalist. Jonathan Martin.
Yes, and he was like, some kid wrote this without
a kid staffer.
Yeah, a kid staffer wrote it without a review and posted it, and that became, Biden doesn't like Easter, and he's taking it over with trans, and it's like, look, you khara. It is your job to figure out what went wrong, not make excuses for the administration. You need to figure out what went wrong and report what went wrong. You need to say, this kid staffer who's a dumb piece of khara posted it without review from any of his superiors.
Right.
And there is no checks in this administration. Nobody's running the asylum. It is these little commie, like treasonous, anti-American garbage kids that are running the asylum, and that is what you need to report on, not making an excuse and saying that the Republicans are pouncing on this.
It's one of those things that when you see how the corporate press is covering for Biden, it turns something what should normally be trivial into something that says maybe the entire establishment of the fourth estate and obviously our government is rotten to the core. Mm-hmm. Because any good journalist would simply say, why is there a kid staffer calling the shots in the most powerful building in the country and arguably the world at one point? I mean, I don't think it is anymore, considering, just given how things have gone in this administration
and around the world too.
And around the world. Well, exactly. Given this, our standing in the world has definitely dropped considerably, but that's a topic for another day. This particular aspect of a kid staffer basically saying, who gives a hoot about Easter? Let's talk about Trans Day of Visibility, a day in which like a fraction of a percent of the population it applies to. This is a Judeo-Christian nation. Jay and I, although we're not Jews or Christians, at least yet, we'll probably get converted after we die. But we'll be converted to Mormonism. Let's be real.
Yeah, that's the right religion.
in any event, the majority of this country practices some form of Christianity.
Mm-hmm.
The majority of this country observes Easter. They never heard of Trans Day of Visibility until maybe like, if not this week, like maybe within the last decade.
And they don't care.
And yeah, they don't care. Like Jarvis had this great thread on Twitter X, and I want to share it with you because, you know, we talk about how there are all these like national holidays and whatnot,
Mm-hmm.
but it's almost comical how far they've taken it. So
Mm-hmm.
just bear with me for a moment. Jarvis writes, a lot of people are upset with Biden for declaring Easter to be Trans Day of Visibility. But to be fair, the date was selected only because the LGBT calendar was already rather full. The Trans Day of Visibility is March 31st. Do not confuse this with the Trans Day of Remembrance, which is November 20th. He goes on saying, we must also take care to honor Transgender Parent Day, November 6th. Trans Awareness Week, November 13th to 19th, and International Pronoun Day, October 20th. Trans is distinct from drag. International Drag Day is July 16th. But not everyone has a gender. Agender Pride Day is May 19th. Intersex Awareness Day is October 26th. You can come out as any of these on National Coming Out Day, which is October 11th. Omnisexual Visibility Day is July 6th, so mark your calendar for that. Bisexual Awareness Week ends on September 22nd, but jumps right into Bisexual Visibility Day, which is September 23rd. Interestingly enough, also my birthday. That's right. That's when I came out.
Right, as bi.
As bi. And
we can actually see you. You came out visible.
Visible, yeah.
November 23rd.
It's visible. A bisexual September. Visibly came out of its mother's womb. July 14th is International Non-Binary Day, right in the middle of Non-Binary Awareness Week, July 11th to the 17th. My personal favorite is Gay Uncle Day, August 14th. That's really a day for Jay.
No, but wait, hold on. I was gonna say Gay Uncle Week is just another way to say that it's Pedo Pride Day, and then you had to throw my name in there.
I mean, Jay, you're basically an uncle now, so
yeah,
Uncle JJ.
Basically, yeah, I think.
Or as M calls you, Gay Jay. Speaking of April, we can't forget the ladies. International Lesbian Visibility Day is April 26th. Harvey Milk Day is May 22nd, and Stonewall Riots Day is June 28th.
It's great that they still celebrate that pedo Harvey Milk.
I know like next to nothing about Harvey Milk.
He pretty much groomed a child and sexual relations with him since he was 16. The child was 16. He was like 40 something, something like that. But he is a gay icon, which is very weird that they always put these type of things into the gay.
But here's the thing,
LGBT
I feel like it's
stuff.
almost like it was more ubiquitous, I feel, back then, like in the last century, like prior to the 21st century, that like I'd say like in the 1950s and 60s. I mean, Jerry Lee Lewis, didn't he marry like a 14-year-old? Jerry Lee Lewis, Great Balls of Fire.
Bro, I grew up in a country that like most music was banned.
But Jerry Lee Lewis is so old. How would that not permeate? I mean, that's like 1950s when recorded music really started taking up.
In 1988, we moved over to
Jay. I was born in 87.
To a country that was banning a bunch of music when I was a child. Do you think listen to it? I didn't hear any.
Did your mom never not play this stuff?
No. Why would you want to go to jail? What are you talking about?
Well, they actually like banned you from playing it.
Well, you couldn't get it from anywhere, honestly. Like you couldn't get music on. Well, and also we're so old that when we were kids, the only time we actually got music was when LimeWire came out, and that's when I started. That's when I got into
the OG was Napster.
That's when I got into like Metallica, Megadeth. Like all of these things, and then they started becoming more and more lenient. And System of a Down, like
System of a Down
a
is
perfect circle, like blasphemous
blasphemous.
type music and stuff.
Love it.
Yes. But don't get me wrong, like Khaliji music is pretty good.
No, it's not bad at all.
You should play a Khaliji song.
Not right now.
No, on locals.
On locals.
Yes.
We'll
play some Khaliji songs.
Anyways, Jarvis is we're not even done with
Jesus
with his thread. Jesus is right, considering that we were just, observing Jesus.
What the hell? I mean, and it's so crazy because these people are like, we just want to be left alone. And then you have all these proclamation days for these people who say that they want to be left alone, who want to shove their penises into women's faces in locker rooms. Like, these people don't want to be invisible. They want to make sure that they can get you in trouble, that they force you into their delusion as much as possible, that they use the government's gun in your face, just like they want to put their penises in your daughter's faces and go into women's sports, go into their locker rooms. It's disgusting.
It is. Anyways, Jarvis's thread continues. Pansexuality is widely misunderstood, so it gets a few days. Pansexuality and Panromantic Visibility Day is May 24th, but don't forget Pansexual Pride Day, which is December 8th. Spirit Day is October 21st, but I can't remember what that's for.
Is it like Two-Spirit thing where they misconstrued what this Native American thing meant?
Yeah, I think it's...
And then they're like, oh, there's two spirits living in you.
Yeah, one of them gay. One of them is gay. The other one is gay. There are two wolves living inside you. One is gay. The other is gay.
Yeah, I got two in mine. One's edging. The other one's good.
It's a great T-shirt where it's like, I'll curse this one time. It says, "I have two wolves inside me, and they won't stop fucking." Anyways, Jarvis continues saying, a lot of people confuse Pride Month, June, with LGBT History Month, October. We must observe both, though, as well as Bisexual Health Awareness Month, March, and Trans Awareness Month, November. Human Rights Day is December 10th, and World AIDS Day is December 1st. Don't confuse either of these with HIV Survivors Day, which is June 5th.
Oh, my God.
May 17th is the International Day Against Homophobia, Biphobia, and Transphobia. You should also not be hateful on March 1st, which is Zero Discrimination Day. Discrimination is definitely not okay on the International Day of Silence, which is April 22nd. So in sum, while Christians might be bent out of shape about Biden taking over Easter, you see that his hands were tied. To be frank, Christians were being a bit greedy, demanding 2 days, Easter and Christmas, to celebrate their guy. You're not really leaving enough days on the calendar for the powerless and marginalized folks who never get enough attention.
Beautiful.
God.
Just beautiful. That whole thread is just masterclass.
It really is.
It's so good.
And to say that, Biden didn't do it, look, why would you admit to that?
Well, right. And the thing that I still can't get over is that there's nobody in the media that is like, look at that. I mean, come on, guys, fucking do your job. Like, God, your job is not.
It actually isn't that difficult to be a journalist. I was one at one point in time. It is literally asking questions, but they can't even do that right. There was an AP reporter at the White House press briefing who framed basically to Karine Jean-Pierre about how it wasn't about Biden shifting priorities over to Trans Visibility Day, but rather focusing on the Republicans' pounce or House Speaker Mike Johnson characterizing it, what Biden was trying to do. They only ask about how they respond to Republicans and their reaction rather than actually being like, hey, guys, what the fuck?
Right. And that's all they have to do. If the AP journalist just asked, hey, who was the staffer that did it? And then what is the process in making sure statements like these are issued? Yeah, that's the only question. And then let KG,
really not that hard.
They don't ask these questions because they see when Douchey and Jacqueline ask her questions, how she gets stumped and just sounds like a retarded gay lesbian. They don't ask her these questions to stump her up anymore because they want to try and make her sound good because she's she is borderline retarded. And a pure DEI hire. I mean, when you want to talk about DEI, you want to talk about things just being garbage in being put in positions because they're black and lesbian. KGP is the epitome of that.
Wait, hold on. What did you say? Did you say impediment? Impediment.
Yes, impediment. I said
impediment.
Sure.
Not epitome.
The epitome of what you see as a DEI hire is KGP.
I mean, look, people were talking about how the Baltimore mayor was a DEI hire. Like, bro, that's. I mean, like, look, we can talk and criticize about DEI until the cows come home, but like, that was an election in a majority black city. So,
right,
like, that's not DEI. Like, it's not like the mayors before that mayor were not black. Like, basically
incompetent,
they're pretty much all incompetent. But like, I mean, 2 mayors before this guy was elected, Catherine Pugh was had to resign because she of a massive like scandal, which if you looked at it, it was like kind of like silly, but she served like 3 years in federal prison for it. For like a level of corruption, like she was making money on the side, and like Catherine Pugh, look her up. So, and like, I'm not saying that these are DEI hires because like the last 4 mayors all black, at least to my recollection. Like,
well, and also that's to the more important point is don't just blame everything on DEI. Because you're going to sound stupid,
right?
And you're going to give ammunition to the other side,
right? Well, Brandon Scott is the current mayor. He is not a DEI hire. Who preceded him? Here, let me share my screen. Well, Jay, you go ahead and continue.
Well, you're right, because you don't want to give these people ammunition to be like, oh, the DEI is just a boogeyman. You're just going to call anyone black a DEI hire. You don't want to do that. Because you're just going to look stupid and you're going to look like a racist. What you want to do is you want to make sure that you're hitting it right on its head, like KGP, like what's happening in colleges, like the Harvard president Gay, like all of these different people, former Harvard president Gay. These people are complete DEI.
Yeah,
and you don't want to weaken.
All right, so
the
mayor before Brandon Scott is Jack Young. Okay, before this is Catherine Pugh, who I just mentioned before. Before Catherine Pugh, Stephanie Rawlings Blake. Okay, before Stephanie Rawlings Blake, Sheila Dixon. Okay, before Sheila Dixon. The last white mayor is Martin O'Malley, who served also as governor of the state of Maryland. And he served as mayor. The last time they had an actual white mayor in Baltimore was 2007.
Yeah, and honestly, from 1999 to 2007, it was still a shithole.
It's not like Baltimore was considered at any point in time nice during that period.
No, it wasn't. So
I'm pretty sure The Wire was entirely filmed in Baltimore under Martin O'Malley's watch.
Probably.
I'm pretty sure it was.
And it's so funny because it's not a race thing; it's an ideology thing. Because
it's not like they're all Democrats.
They're all Democrats.
They're all Democrats. And they're all corrupt.
And they've all turned that city into complete shit. I mean, Maryland is not a bad place. And Maryland's beautiful outside.
Yeah.
Outside of Baltimore.
They're nice.
I mean, your parents live in Maryland.
Yeah, they're actually moving.
And then and my mom lives in Maryland.
Yes.
Right now, and where she lives is pretty.
Yeah.
It's pretty nice.
Where they both live. Very nice.
I mean, not a lot of black people around, but it's beautiful.
Oh,
people walk around, go on hikes, not worried about anything. I mean, it's wonderful.
Although if you go to PG County, Prince George's County, it is actually it is the northeast of DC. It is the wealthiest black county in the majority black county in the United States.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Wait until it's gentrified.
Bro, I'm pretty sure it's already gentrified, but I'm pretty sure it's not because fuck it, let's just keep moving. In any event, this whole idea though, I know we're kind of going off on the tangent here, but like the whole DEI thing with Karine Jean-Pierre, with Brandon Scott, it's only until recently that people have been talking about DEI as being some sort of racial slur. There was I don't know if it was Brandon Scott, but there was someone who said that DEI is basically the new N-word.
Right, and allowing,
which is
them
not
to
correct, because we can say DEI, but we don't say the N-word. We literally call it the N-word.
No, exactly. But this is why calling everything DEI is detrimental in the fight against this ideology, is because they will start using it as a racial slur, because you have people calling the mayor of Baltimore a DEI hire.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is not.
No, I mean, it is absolutely retarded that people are using that label for Brandon Scott as a DEI mayor. Like, I don't know where the messaging came from, but it is obtuse,
dude,
over the top.
You got people like Charlie Kirk. Like, of course it's going to be stupid and retarded. But you go and you look at Boeing, for instance.
Okay.
You have people calling what's happening at Boeing a DEI, but that's not what happened.
Right.
You have
hedge fund managers,
hedge fund manager and EBITDA guys cutting out the culture of engineering and safety within Boeing,
right,
for more profits. And I mean, the huge scandal that happened, especially with the automated system that they had in there, that they didn't want to claim was new, because they didn't want people to have to go through new training and have airlines spend millions upon millions of dollars for new training of pilots.
Right.
They said it was part of the old system. It's just an update.
Right.
And that's why you had 2 or 3 airlines crash.
Wait, crash? I thought that was like
no, in 2014, 2015.
Oh, wait, that's all related to this?
Yeah, when the
Malaysia
new
Airlines.
Max, yeah, not Malaysia. I don't know about Malaysia, but it was Ghana. I think it was Ghana.
Oh,
and
wow.
I think one was Malaysia or something as well.
You know, as a Muslim, I should know every single plane crash. I should know it like an idiot savant.
Right. Just automatically.
Yeah, like, oh, yeah.
Oh, of course. 1997. Yeah, I know when that happened.
Yeah.
I know exactly what happened.
I really need to brush up on my game. I'm sorry, guys. That's on me. All right.
Yeah, I mean, Be Happy 731. Joy Reid absolutely is one, and then he's like, elected versus selected is different. Absolutely true.
I think it's very important to understand the difference between the two, because when you start to criticize something and you are wrong, it is so much tougher, so much harder to defend you when you just don't get it right. So I don't know where the sloppiness came from. Right. But it needs to stop.
It does. And the only person that I would say that you really need to follow in tune with this stuff, with CRT stuff, with DEI stuff, is Christopher Rufo.
I would call him Ruffo. If he ever comes on the pod. I think he might come on the pod.
I know. I mean, he follows both of us and we communicate a lot. So I don't know, maybe I can get him on, and he can really expertly.
There's no me in Habibi Bros.
Nope, there's not.
But there's an I. Couple. Couple eyes, actually.
Yeah, that's for us. Two eyes, one you, one me.
Yeah, that's right.
But he expertly breaks all of this stuff down. The way to talk about it, the way to go after it. He is an expert on this, and he's worked really well with the Florida governor and other Republican governors in getting DEI completely out of government. I mean, they have taken it out of multiple universities here in Florida because of the way he's able to talk about it and handle it. So that's definitely somebody you need to follow.
Oh
yeah, thank you, Ocean Breeze. It was in Indonesia, not Malaysia. It was Indonesia and Ghana. I think it was Ghana. Yeah.
Did you just call it Ghana?
Gonorrhea,
like ganja. Okay, so shifting gears just a little bit, because I think it's important to show this. I feel like we've talked ad nauseum about trans day of visibility, it's obvious that that Biden is a cafeteria Catholic, as that one bishop said on CBS Face the Nation. But I also think it's important to realize that basically all of his stances about his religion are entirely derived from politics. He believes what he believes about abortion because he cares more about political gain and basically not pissing off the left and these fourth wave feminists. And he's more concerned about Trans Day of Visibility because he doesn't want to piss off the extremist LGBTQ people, the alphabet people, than he is of any Christian or Catholic that he actually would see in the church if he went to one. I don't even know if he goes to church anymore, considering well, I mean, everything that he's done, and considering that pretty much I mean, like, I'm not saying that like the how you raise your children is a testament to, you know, how you are, you know, as a character. Every person has their own agency, and you know, we all make mistakes, but the Biden family as a whole seems to be not really like, if that's the company, if the type of people that Biden raised turn out to be the people that they are, like, it's not like it just came out of nowhere. It had to come from somewhere. And your parents have a incredible influence on how you view the world. So I'm not speculating that Biden is a bad father, but I think there's more to suggest that, if anything, his political career basically took precedence over him being there for his family. Yeah. And I think you're seeing the fruits of it. You know, Hunter Biden is already indicted. You know, they couldn't even get him on the they couldn't get Joe on the classified document stuff because he's an old, feeble you know, man with no memory. But on Hunter Biden, they got him on a gun charge. They got him on tax evasion, tax fraud, what you name it. But it all seems like very what's it called? It feels it's consolation. What's the conciliatory? I'm gonna mess it up and just start cursing because I don't know the exact word. But it feels like it's like making up for the lack of indictments on his father, on Biden. So I don't know where I was going with this, but in any event, yeah, I mean, at one point or another, like, the sins of the father really should, like, I mean, like, it's almost like it passed down to his children, and no one's holding the father accountable for what he's done to mess up his children. Well, yeah. Well, and also because a lot of this stuff is happening because Biden was involved with a lot of that shit with Hunter, and Hunter's taking the brunt of it. Yeah. And which is unfair because Beau Biden's not getting any heat right now. I know. Not even in the burn pit. Nope. He was a hero in Iraq. My son died on Easter Sunday. My son Beau died on Good Friday. My son Beau died on the cross. Okay, shifting gears to a different dynasty family. I think you all know about the Kennedy family. DEI equals didn't earn it. Didn't earn it, yeah. I've seen that around. So RFK Jr. Goes on CNN and talks about, well, he's actually asked this question. I'm just going to play the clip for you because I think it's worth sharing.
When people talk about the threat to democracy that Trump poses, do you really think that is an equal evil to Biden?
I mean, listen, I can make the argument.
I apologize to our viewers and listeners who are listening to this, RFK Jr., and I'm wondering, why does it sound like he's just gargling salt mixed in with a couple of testicles? That's just how he talks, okay? I'm not I'm not trying to make excuses. That's just him.
And President Biden is a much worse threat to democracy. And the reason for that is President Biden is the first candidate in history, the first president in history that has used the federal agencies to censor political speech, so to censor his opponent. I can say that because I just won a case in the Federal Court of Appeals and now before the Supreme Court. It shows that he started censoring not just me. For 37 hours after he took the oath of office, he was censoring me. No president in the country has ever done that. The greatest threat to democracy is not somebody who questions election returns, but a president of the United States who used the power of his office to force the social media companies, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, to open a portal and give access to that portal to the FBI, to the CIA, to the IRS, to CISA, to NIH, to censor his political critics. President Biden, for the first president in history, to use his power over the Secret Service to deny Secret Service protection to one of his political opponents for political reasons. He's weaponizing the federal agencies. Those are really critical threats
Donald
to democracy.
Trump, of course, tried to overturn a free and fair election. He tried to overturn one, right? He's still fighting in court.
Yes.
How is that not a threat to democracy?
Well, I think that is a threat to democracy. If him trying to overthrow the election clearly is a threat to democracy. But the question was, who is a worse threat to democracy? And what I would say is, I'm not going to answer that question, but I can argue that President Biden is, because the First Amendment, Aaron, is the most important. Adams and Hamilton and Madison said, we put the guarantee of freedom of expression in the First Amendment because all of our other constitutional rights depend on it. If you have a government that can silence its opponent, it has license for any atrocity.
So just to be clear, you're saying you could make an argument that President Biden is a worse threat to democracy than Donald Trump. That's what you just said.
But who else has ever tried to censor? What president in history has ever tried to censor political opponents? What president has weaponized the federal agency?
So that's RFK Jr. With Aaron Burnett on CNN. Of course, you already can tell that the corporate media does not like what RFK Jr. is saying. Not how he's saying it, because how he's saying it is more disturbing than what he's saying, considering just listening to him. So I bring you this piece from Philip Bump. Misinformation spouting RFK Jr. muses that Biden is a threat to democracy. That's how they're characterizing it. Okay.
Oh my God, this guy, and this is the guy who was like, who's like, I don't know what that means. I don't know what it means.
So Philip Bump, if you're in the column, he doesn't even start off with like anything that RFK Jr. said. He's literally just going right into the vaccines, rather than focusing on like the merit of RFK's statement. Look, I don't dispute what RFK has to say about this. I think Biden has been a greater threat to democracy. I mean, just look at how they've persecuted and prosecuted people who went into the Capitol, not just nonviolent people, just trespassing. Okay, didn't beat up cops, didn't like try to actually hurt people who were just in attendance or watching or were documenting this stuff. Like,
yeah, a couple journalists also.
Yeah, Tommy's one of them. I mean, Tommy Kerrigan, who came on the show a couple weeks ago. Yeah, like it's way over the top, and a lot of them haven't even been released yet. And look, I don't know why it's come to this point, but it's not about whether what they did was wrong. It's about sending a message, right? Don't ever try to. It's not like there aren't demonstrations that happen on the Capitol, in the Capitol, on Capitol Hill at all. Like, you go to DC, there's a demonstration happening like every week inside the Capitol. People doing sit-ins, people having some sort of protest march, whatever. That never gets reported on. In fact, it actually is encouraged. And
you have people on the on the gates to the White House throwing shit over the White pro Hamas protesters are throwing bottles and trying to break into the White House and stuff, and nothing is happening with them. You don't hear any reports of people going after these type of violent individuals either, and the media doesn't report on them in the same tone either.
No, it's all it's look. I get that there are varying degrees of protest, and you know, you obviously talk about January 6th, and I'd say that's more of a riot than anything. But you go after the people who are actually like vandalizing property, beating up police officers, you know, like stuff that actually is breaking the law, and they're going after people that simply just like walked in there because the Capitol Police let them in. Like that's something's got to give here. Like we've reached a point where you got Trump campaigning and saluting the January 6th like detainees, and that's now a point of discussion about like, oh, Trump is clearly a fascist. Look at him just saluting all of these detainees. Bro, he's not like, first of all, he's not even like saluting the people who were like rightfully prosecuted and convicted, like specifically on violent charges. He's talking about the people that are wrongfully detained still.
Right.
Like, I get that like it's politics and people are going to constantly try to like, you know, blur the lines here, but whether Trump actually, you know, clarifies any of that is moot, because it's not like the media will give him an honest you know.
No, they wouldn't, like an honest reporting.
Yeah, they never do it.
Mm-mm.
So
I mean, the guy said bloodbath, and they were saying like he was calling for a civil war.
Right.
So of course, they're never going to give him a fair shake.
No, for sure. Anyways, we're approaching an hour here. Before we move over to our locals, Habibis, make sure you go check out 1775 Coffee. We got a promo code currently happening right now, where if you use the promo code 1775coffee.com/Coffee Bros, you get 10% off an order. We actually try this coffee. It's legit.
It really is. I mean, I also make it with I make tiramisu with it. I mean, it's really, really good.
Oh yeah. Don't be a sleepy Joe. Drink 1775. Look at that.
That is
beautiful. That's so sick.
Yeah, it's a really good tab.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, because actually we really needed to display that. But yeah, you know, Rumble partnered with 1775 Coffee, and you know, it's thankfully it's actually very affordable. Oh look, there's Viva Frey saying it's damn good. Donald Trump Jr. Alex Zadra, where are we? Matt Kors, saw Matt last week. So yeah, I think it's really good.
It's
legit.
It's really, really good coffee.
And if you are actually building a website, then go also check out Rumble Cloud, which actually launched this past month in March. I think I don't know if there's actually a discount there, but if you want to make sure you're not canceled by, you know, the AWSs and the GoDaddies of the world, because anything you say could obviously be held against you, then go check out Rumble Cloud if you're looking to at least preserve your website for whatever reason. Business, doesn't matter. And if you don't, tell your friends about it. In addition to that, tell your friends about Habibi Bros, because Jay and I are trying to actually build something here.
Yes.
So I want
this year there's a lot of things we're going to be doing and planning this year.
Right. We're expanding, we're building, we're growing. We're very excited about it. Excited that you all can join us in this journey. And you know, if you join us on Locals, we're going to talk about we got something that actually we never thought we'd talk about: women's basketball.
Yeah.
So come join us on Locals. We're going to, you know, might get spicy. You know, I'm not entirely sure.
Oh, we're taking our shirts off. That's for sure.
We're definitely taking the shirts off. So Habibis, go join us over there. We will see you there. right? Meow.